The entire life of man and the entire history of mankind constitute a relentless drive for knowledge in order to understand oneself and the world around him. And the first trailblazers in that eternal quest for knowledge are the men who test things. The parachute testers. Ernest Sevastyanov, merited Master of Sports, parachute tester. Give the parachute a shake, and without checking it, pack it into the bag. Yes, indeed, this parachute has not been packed according to instructions. True enough, in the tough life of an aviator, such things may never happen. But these men are parachute testers, and it is their job to foresee and check out the consequences of such an emergency situation. After all, a parachute is at times the last and only hope for life in extreme circumstances, and the person must have complete faith in his parachute and trust it as his closest and true friend. Vladimir Chizhik, merited Master of Sports, parachute tester. The cords of this parachute have been tied up with nylon tape so that the canopy does not fill up with air. Now he'll take a few steps and will then be alone in a huge green field. His main chute will not open. His entire day today and tomorrow, his entire life in these fleeting moments, will pass under the canopy of this reserve parachute. These forerunners are always on the edge of risk, always on the threshold of the unknown, for they are the pathfinders for those who follow them. Vadim Zhukov, Master of Sports parachute tester. He will test a new automatic device. At first glance, it seems nothing special, but only if you're standing firmly on the ground. What a great temptation it is to pull the ripcord of the parachute when the ground is fast approaching you. But you have to wait. Wait and count the seconds of your descent and your life. Alexander Lisichkin, Master of Sports, parachute tester. The pack on his back holds quite an unconventional chute. It's called the flying wing. Triangular in form, which gives its own peculiarities and aerodynamic properties. The tester is to find the answers to many pros and cons concerning this new parachute design. Gennady Marchenko, Master of Sports, parachute tester. He's going to test special release systems. He has just moved the safety catch of the lock. In a second or so, there's no longer the safe canopy of the main chute over his head. And once again, the whistling wind, and once again, the fleeting and seemingly eternal seconds, each of which could hold an entire human life. The chief of the parachute testers team, Vladimir Prokopov, merited Master of Sports, parachute tester. His chute will deploy the instant he leaves the plane that is flying at high speed. His task is to test the strength of the canopy for rupturing when loads reach critical levels. These men are parachute testers. Their job is to test new systems, new designs of parachutes. Their task is to think up on the ground the most unbelievable emergency situations and then to test them on themselves in the air. After that, their experience and recommendations may possibly save more than one human life. The history of aviation and the history of parachute jumping as a sport are but a few decades old. During this period, aviation engineering and technology have been developing in leaps and bounds. New types of parachutes have been created and perfected. The range of using parachutes has grown substantially. Many limitations that one time seemed insurmountable obstacles in the way of parachute jumpers have been removed and re-examined. This concerns the maximum allowable speeds and altitudes of the flying craft that jumpers vacate, as well as conditions when to resort to the reserve chute. This concerns wind velocity and earth approaching speeds. Every new design of a parachute is born on the ground, but a parachute earns its permission to be used in the sky. And the first person that straps a pack containing an experimental chute is the tester. And the future lifespan of a parachute and its efficiency depend in large measure on these men who chose this unique profession, a profession that calls not only for courage and bravery, but also in-depth engineering knowledge. In their job, there is such an expression as guarantee of life. And every time they jump from a plane or helicopter, they realize they are taking a conscientious risk in order to guarantee the safety of those for whom the sky, aviation, and the jump itself represent the meaning and the main thing in their life. So that those working in the sky will always feel behind their backs that every guarantee of life was first checked out by the parachute testers themselves. Is it possible to speak about the joy a bird feels? Probably yes, when it's flying in the sky. Can we ask a parachutist whether he experiences fear when he's skyborne? Probably not, because in those fleeting moments he experiences such joy that he possibly feels only once in his lifetime, at the dawn of his youthhood. The sky chooses strong-willed people with open hearts. And that is why there will always be such men who want to join the ranks of the parachute testers. Vyacheslav Lichtman, Georgy Gevorkyan, Oleg Arens. These men have just begun to climb the pinnacles in their new profession. And the sky is where they work. But training for such a profession begins on the ground. Some at the drafting board, or on a plan for upcoming tests. And what can be more reliable than a device made for oneself and with one's own hands? And it is here, on the ground, talking it out with the designer, that they map out an idea that is later materialized and flies in the sky. In these quiet earthly hours, it is just the time and place to analyze those critical moments during which one almost had to pay the ultimate price. Now Ernest Sevastianov recalls that jump almost with great calm, but then... What happened after the canopy deployed? The pilot chute detached. The cords grew tense. The deployment bag opened. That meant the canopy did not unfold. Why had that happened? I'll figure that out later. I had to detach the canopy and deploy my reserve chute. I pressed down on the safety catch and pulled the handle. The left free end detached, but the right one didn't. That meant the safety catch was not activated. I tried again. Now I realized the safety catch was not working. And I tried a third, then a fourth, and a fifth time. Didn't work. I had to deploy my reserve chute. It seemed to fill up, but no, it didn't. The free end overlapped, entangling the cords of my reserve chute. I feel a strong twisting to the right. I try to slow it down. I pull down on the cords of the reserve chute, and the twisting subsides. The ground is fast approaching. I'm twisting over a forest. Now I must pull down as hard as possible to slow down the twisting. I pull down the cords as much as I can, and I flop into a snowdrift. I feel I'm all in one piece. Well, it seems we'll be able to carry on. Pyotr Zadidov also experienced such trying moments in his life. A huge snowdrift saved his life. The sky selects not only the strong-hearted, but also leads them to the highest pinnacles. Mount Elbrus stands 5,642 meters above sea level. Probably not many daredevils would risk conquering that peak according to the laws and rules of mountain climbers who scale cliffs and glaciers, but jumping from a plane and gliding down under the canopy of a parachute. Here, high up in the mountains, in conditions of sub-zero temperatures and lack of oxygen, these men are to test not only parachutes, but to test themselves, their experience and human endurance. They themselves must cover this long road to the peak of Mount Elbrus, just like teams of mountain climbers did before them, over mountain paths and glaciers, under the blinding rays of the sun, lacking oxygen, and when every step is a struggle against fatigue, when one's legs feel as if they were filled with lead. They are to come down by parachute on this little spot of land. They are to jump from a plane flying at an altitude of almost 6,500 meters. Now they are above Mount Elbrus. Team leader and test pilot Mikhail Chernykh. Test navigator Alexei Gamov. Test pilot Oleg Sergeyenko. One more circle around the peak in order to pinpoint the jump-off position and landmark for the parachute testers. The last few seconds before the jump-off. What awaits them out there after leaving the plane? The weather high up in the mountains can change in a minute, upsetting all previous plans. Then they can only count on the rich experience of parachute testers. Well, it's time to jump. This is their moment of glory. Is it possible to speak about the joy a bird feels? Probably yes, when it's flying in the sky. Can we ask a parachutist whether he experiences fear when he's skyborne? Probably not, because the more difficult the jump, the greater the joy of triumph. They did it. For the first time in the world, Soviet parachutes landed on the top of the highest pinnacle in Europe, Mount Elbrus. The entire life of man and the entire history of mankind constitute a relentless drive for knowledge in order to understand oneself and the world around him. And the first trailblazers in that eternal quest for knowledge are the men who test things.